Yes, yes, yes. All of our production streams are TOS compliant. They really, really are. I haven't even begun doing this, and I'm already laughing my head off. Oh my goodness. Interplanetary Network, how are you? Deadpool. How you doing, daddy baby? How are you? So let's get this show on the road. Let's see what we're gonna do here. Hi guys, what is going on? So yeah, we're going to do a second test run here. I am still developing this stream and getting a lot of great ideas and feedback from people from the first one, but I wanted to get in the habit of just doing this on a regular basis, so it just makes it a little bit easier to get into doing it. And hopefully within the next week or so I'll have a set schedule, and we'll be getting some guest DJs and guest producers as well. I know there's some people who have shown interest in being part of the show, which is really, really cool. And yeah, so how the heck are all of you out there? I know it's really hot out there. It's super, super hot. And I think we're supposed to be getting another wave of heat, and I'm not looking forward to it. Ugh. I don't think you guys are either. The heat waves are just bad right now. But anyhow, we're going to be talking music, just like we did last time. Remember, for people who weren't here last time, and just going to show them right now, the program that I like to use is Acid Pro. This is a DAW that's now owned by Magic Software. And this program has been around for a very long time. It was originally created by Sonic Foundry back in the late 90s, around 1998. 1999, that was the first time it was out, and it's had a couple of different versions since then. It was briefly owned by Sony for a bit, and then they did one update and it stayed dormant for about 10 to 12 years. People thought the program was just gone and done with, but recently Magic Software purchased this program, and they have been adamant with updates and trying to get this to be a major player in the music industry again. It's one of those programs that I'm slowly but surely learning that everyone still knows about, everyone still remembers. They try to hide the fact that they don't use it, but more people use it than people are willing to admit, and that's the most interesting thing. I think the most interesting thing about this. But what I'm going to do right now, instead of just constantly talking about the history of this DAW, I can't do that every single time. I'm going to play this project that I started working on. I started working on this sometime last week, and I haven't finished it yet, only because I want to try to get myself a much cleaner acapella for it. But it's a remix. A private remix. Oh, look who's in the house. C-Vox, how are you, baby? What's going on? How you doing, girl? C-Vox is legendary. She makes beats. She sings. She does it all. So, much love to you, C-Vox. So, yeah, I'm going to give you... This is the first time I've actually playing this, because I just started this about, like I said, sometime last week. I want to wait until I get a fresh acapella to finish this up and start playing it on my show. But you might know the vocal. You might already know the name of the song if I'm going to circle it right about there. But let me just press play so you can just get the general idea. Let's go. See, that's funny. Deadpool. I don't think this is master friendly already. There's still some things with this that I have to do. I mean, I am kind of focused on sound placement and a little bit of EQing. A lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm just kind of used to the environment that I'm working in. But like, I honestly don't think that this is master ready at all. Nowhere close to it. I really don't. But you know, there are some things that I have used in order to like help me along with the sound placement and like putting all the tracks and things in the right places and things like that. It's not just the organization, you know, with each, you know, like with most DAWs, you get a track EQ with every single track that you put in here. And depending on the type of instrument that you're using, you can already figure out ways to start rolling off certain frequencies and boosting other ones, just so that you can actually that's cool. Dusty Digital, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome. So what I was saying, yeah, you can just roll off certain frequencies. That way they don't start clashing with other ones. Like for instance, certain synths, you don't want them to be bass heavy because you just want the synth noise to be heard, and you want the bass notes, like your actual bass and the bass kick drum, like in house music, kick drums are everything. You want that stuff to just have that room. You want them to have this lower area, like below 80 hertz, you know. Once it gets down to like 20 and things like that, it's like stuff you don't even hear. I mean, I'm sure you know a lot about that. It's stuff that is not stuff that you hear, but it's more stuff that you feel. And then as you get up to about 80, that's when like the kick drum is like, you know, pounding and doing its thing. That's where the bass note kind of sits in and starts becoming more prevalent. So like, you don't want your bass notes to be going into the same EQ zones as the kick. I mean, generally speaking, I mean, that's a basic rule. It's not the only rule here, you know. Depending on how you're producing, or whatever type of track you're producing, or what type of effect you're looking for, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. So, don't take it by, you know, it's not set in stone, but it's something that I like to do with this because it does help me with getting everything organized and together. Excuse me. So, actually, what I can do, I want to pull up a sheet. I can actually type up the URL for this at some point, or actually what I will do is I can make this available in my Discord. But this has been like a little musical cheat sheet, an EQ cheat sheet that I've been using for many millennia or the last several years, whatever you want to call it. But it's a great little tool that you can use to help start positioning sound. And as you can see, there's general areas telling you the zones for like bass, mid ranges, high frequencies. First, it just gives you the general definitions of like what these zones are on an EQ and what they generally would do. Like, you know, if you want things to be be heard more, have more of an like an airy feel, or if you want to fill up the bottom a little bit, you know, who doesn't want to fill up a bottom? Okay, TOS compliant. See what you're already getting me to do? You guys are quite naughty. Chess Greg, how are you doing? Thank you so much for the support. And Joshua D is back in the house. Yes, hello. You heard nothing. I did not say anything about filling bottoms. Like, look, there I go again. But anyhow, yeah, going back to this cheat sheet, and not the fact that I'm being a little naughty. You have this sheet is wonderful. I mean, it shows you certain things that you want to do if you're using a particular type of drums. It even goes into like the different types of percussion, like the tom-toms, the snares, like depending if you want to try to get that snappier snare or some type of like, you know, something that's a little bit softer that you can hear but not necessarily dominate the entire track. And then it even does live instruments like, you know, guitars, pianos, violins. I do the string section a lot because I use a lot of violin pads and stuff like that in my tracks. I'm obsessed with violins. I don't know why. Well, actually I do, but well, that might actually get me into a little bit of story time. I think the very first musical instrument I ever tried to learn how to play, believe it or not, was the violin. Tried to learn it back in like 4th grade. And unfortunately, I had a teacher who really didn't know how to teach me. But he tried. He failed. I only knew how to play one song. And by the time I got up to the second year of violin, I realized I couldn't even learn. I didn't even know how to play scales. So the orchestra teacher, she was much more nicer than the other guy who just kind of like passed me along. She brought me into the drum section. And yeah, putting me in the drum section was probably the better thing to do, because that led me to being who you see here today. But I still love my violin. So I'm in this section a lot, EQing the strings to death. Here we go, like with horns, trumpets, tubas. I should put a tuba in a house record. Could you imagine a nice tuba? Electric tuba. Didn't Opus the Penguin play electric tuba as part of Death Tongue? Am I just showing you just like I'm just a nerd and I know random random comic strip data and comic strip like factoids and stuff like that? But anyhow, I want to put this sheet in my Discord so that you guys can grab a hold of it. It'll be a free download, and yeah, that can help you guys with a lot of EQing ideas and stuff like that. So you can, if you're doing records in any DAWs, not just for this one, you can actually use it any way you see fit. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, we got another follow. Kziv Studio, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Booty Lounge here. And yeah, we're going to be talking more music. So I'm going to be working on this over the next couple of days. Hopefully I'll get this finished and so I can start playing it. You'll know, it'll be played on my show sooner than you think. But anyhow, I want to go into other records that I've been playing around with. Actually, let me see. Well, somehow, my Billie Eilish remix turned out to be really popular. I was not even expecting this to... Ooh, wait a minute. Yep, this is something that you're going to see every so often. Luckily that this is a great tool for searching for missing files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start loading up, having it look for files, and boom. While I'm doing that, this turned out to be a much more popular remix than I thought it was going to be. I had no idea that people were going to respond to it the way that they did, but I'm very happy that they have, and I'm still getting people asking me for it even up to this day, and for some reason that file wasn't found there. So let me go and try to find it in a different folder. Boom. Search. Oh boy. Come on. Don't be evil. All my files are there. There we go. Just because... Oh god, we're not using that. We don't need to use that either. Alright, cool. So it's loaded. My Billie Eilish. Everybody has probably heard me play this many of times before on my show. This is the Everything I Wanted remix. And yeah, for those out there who don't know what this is, I'm just gonna play a little bit of it right now. So let's get into it. So yeah, believe it or not, when I did this remix, I basically just used the original track by itself. The original track had plenty of material. You didn't even have to strip the acapella or anything like that. It was just sitting right there, ready to go. So yeah, I put most of those parts right over here. Sorry for a little bit of the audio delays and things like that in this. I thought I had that all tightened up, but this is basically the piano. If I double click on this, it's the official instrumental, and I'm not sure why it's still doing that. But yeah, just took a piece from the instrumental and just kept that piano going because that's basically throughout the track. So they made that very easy to use. And now for the vocal. Where did I put the vocal? Yeah. It says it's a studio acapella. I thought I used the original track for this. I'm sure I did. Oh well. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe I did have a studio acapella of this. But let me actually take a listen to it just to remind myself. I don't remember the studio acapella, the acapella actually being that strong on this one, you know, because Billie Eilish does sing kind of faint. But let's just play the acapella by itself here.
I had a dream. I got everything I wanted. Not what you think. And if I'm being honest, it might have been a nightmare. To anyone who might care.
Let's see what they're saying. The mic is a little too soft here. Okay. I'm going to turn that up a little bit and turn down the music. I am trying to use this new plugin so I can try to get the audio of the DAW by itself. So I can control that a little bit better and even on my Stream Deck. But maybe not working the way it should. But anyhow. So I actually did have a studio acapella to this. Many times I wind up taking these tracks that just have the piano and a very light beat. And you can just EQ them down and do a little side chain. And you can actually just start remixing it right then and there. In fact, there's a project I'm doing now with Brian Halligan that does something very similar to that. So I'm actually surprised I haven't been doing that with this record here. So I had more parts than I realized. Anyhow, so there's the vocal. Turn this up there. I can go through some of the other sound effects and things like that here. So maybe I can give you guys some ideas of some kits to get. Am I sounding okay now? Not too loud, not too distorted. Please let me know in the chat if my audio is like making you deaf. I'm not here to make you deaf. I'm just here to make you happy. Okay, so let's look at some of the other sound effects that are in here. Like, what I did is, like, once you have the piano, and you know, piano samples just playing all the way through, and I have the vocal playing, everything else is just typical instruments and sounds that I got from, like, Loop Masters and a whole bunch of other things. Bass line comes from E-Lab, and it's just a simple bass note. You know, it's one of many, many bass notes that they have in their kits, and you just position it and you just play it. Very simple. Some of the other things, like the hats, came from New Directions. I think I told you guys about that. That's like one of the very first royalty-free kits and loop kits I ever purchased, along with Rick Corbo. And like 20-something years later, it's still like one of the most useful kits I've ever had. Great for deep house, great for little techie things, soulful. They just fit everywhere, and they are nice, clean sound. So I would get those. Highly recommended if you want. Let's see here. These sounds. Okay, we can remove that because I'm not using them. These sounds came from Computer Music. I'm not sure if you guys know about this magazine. You probably do. There's a magazine out there called Computer Music. It's out of the UK. They release episodes like once a month or so. And they put together a DVD kit. I'll show you guys what that is a little bit later. That's actually a really cool tool. But Computer Music is a great magazine if you just really want to check out what's kind of new, what's kind of buzzing with music and electronic stuff. They give you lots of freebies too, lots of free plugins. Many of them are not like, processor hungry or anything like that, so you can use those in your DAWs. I have a couple of them on here. And they give you lots of free samples as well. They can give you a DVD full of stuff that you can check out, including tutorials. They don't really talk about Acid Pro that much, but they do talk a lot about Ableton Live. They do talk a lot about FL Studio. They do have a lot of Logic. They have a lot of the other major DAWs that you're probably familiar with, even GarageBand. And they do gear reviews and stuff. Highly recommended if you want to grab a couple of copies. I remember I had a yearly subscription to them for a bit. So, yeah, but the 24-bit CM uplifting vibe samples, that's like one of the many kits that they got. They team up with like a lot of different DJs and producers, and they sometimes release specialized kits that they give out just to their subscribers. So that's something to look into if you're interested. Let's see, I think the Perk organ, yeah, that came from the same thing. It's a different set of samples from computer music. Sometimes they like put in like a whole kit, like not just one kit, but they'll give you sample kits from like 10, sometimes maybe even 20 other like different groups and different companies that are making sounds, and they base them off of a particular theme, which makes it a little bit easier. So if you're trying to like make drum and bass, or if you want to do a hip hop, or if you wanted to do lo-fi or whatever it is, they try to stylize the folders and make them around that same particular genre of music. Not saying that you can't use it anywhere else, but still you can. It's a great place to just start jumping off and start playing. Let's see, and then the rise around some of the cosmetic stuff. I call it the bitch makeup. It's the swooshes and whooshes and the things, the transition effects that make a track sound like, really, really cool in the club, and it helps you to build the energy really quickly. Short attention spans and all that. I didn't say that too loud. Push Button Bang Rise is actually a really good is a really good company for that. I got that from what company did I get that from? Yeah, I got that from Loop Masters actually. And they have a whole folder of transitional effects, build-ups, drop-downs, even if you just wanted to have like a little textured loop in the background that just kind of fills in space, because a lot of times people don't want the track to sound too like sparse unless you make it techno. But they're a really good company as well. So Push Button Bang, I would check them out if you're looking for additional sound effects and loops. But anyhow, I'm going to get back into the record a little bit. Let's make sure that like this is playing properly. I don't want to break too many people's eardrums again with this. So let's try this again. And hopefully we have better results this time. Let's press play.
Not what you think. And if I'm being honest, it might have been a nightmare. To anyone who might care. Got everything. Thought I could fly. So I stepped off the golden. Nobody cried. Nobody even noticed I saw them standing right there. Kinda thought they might care. I had a dream. I got everything I wanted, but when I wake up I see you with me.
I am not sure why this is buffering so much. That's weird. That's weird. I did not expect that to be happening so much with this. Apologies for that little buffering noise and stuff like that. And these weird little delays with the audio. My machine should be doing much better than that. But, yeah. Believe it or not, Deadpool, I actually have my, little mastering program mapped to the master on this one. So that's the reason why this one's sounding the way it is. Hopefully it was cleaner this time and not, killing the audio and killing the speakers or anything like that. But this gives me a chance to show the infamous little plugin that I use for mastering. Mastering, you will be doing that forever. There's never a finished or complete way to actually do it. Oh, and that's the reason why I'm getting the audio dropout is because of this. Yeah, Ozone. I'm using Isotope for very quick mastering, not detailed, heavy stuff. But working in a DAW when you're trying to put together something really quickly. I think some of the earlier versions of Ozone, version 3 and version 4, surprisingly enough, it still works. And yeah, this one is saying demo version. For some reason, I didn't authenticate it when I loaded it back up. That is what's causing the dropout in audio on this. It has nothing to do with my other settings. So I don't feel so bad now because I don't really use Ozone 4 that much anymore. I went back to 3 for some reason. I don't even know why. But anyhow, this is a really good plugin. I'm not sure if you can still get your hands on it because I know they're up to version 9 now. It's really, really detailed. In fact, what I may do, I'll close out of this and I'll act like I'm starting a brand new plugin, a brand new track or something like that. What I'll do is I will click here and I can actually show you what Ozone 9 looks like. Get that right over here. Load that up. Yeah, as you can see, this works with almost every plugin you can think of, and this is taking a long time. What is the matter with you today? You were behaving so well last time. Oh, there it is. It's just a heavy plugin to load in. That's another one of the main reasons why I don't use this so much, because it does take a lot of resources on my poor PC here. But it's a great plugin. And I'm still learning how to use this better because it's there's just so many different places where you can do adjustments and stuff like that. But there's even a little master assistant so that you can actually do some sort of match EQ. I'm sure a lot of people who use Logic, they have a match EQ setting, and this will allow you to get a general idea of a good mix, if you're trying to make it for a CD, trying to do a mix for television, try to do a mix for, just about anything. But it's a heavy plugin, so that's the reason why I don't use it so much. Make sure to have a much bigger and more powerful PC for that, obviously. Okay, so let's see. What else can we show off here? I kind of feel like I'm going to go through here. Also, by the way, if you guys know if you happen to know any of the records that I've put out there and want to check out the sequences to that, I can try to load them up. I think I have most of them here on the computer. And who needs 256 gigabytes of RAM? I would love to have that. If Mama was rich, I would have a machine with 200, 512. I would max out RAM and everything, but Mama ain't rich, so that's the reason why we try to get a little resourceful here. But what I was saying is that, if you know any tracks of mine or any Midnight Society tracks or whatever remixes that I've ever done, and you want to see the sequence, I will try to call it up so you can take a look at them. This is actually a cool one. I'm gonna do Opus 3. Now, this is something I've been playing for the last couple of years, and it's been going back and forth with a release date. And again, what I've seen recently is it looks like it's gonna finally come out again, maybe later on this year. It was supposed to come out 2 years ago. As you can see, I did this mix back in 2019. I've had it for quite a while, And yeah, I'm not gonna get into the whole specifics why there was such a huge delay on that, because it starts getting political, and I'm not doing that here on my show. But anyhow, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna load up Kirsty Hawkshaw. You guys know that Kirsty Hawkshaw was the voice for Opus 3, at least on this record, anyhow. But hopefully it'll load. Come on, please. My God, this is a little embarrassing, but it's trying. So there it goes. There it goes. I don't know why it's taking so friggin' long. Could you imagine if my hard drive actually crashed right in the middle of a stream? If my music production stream, if my music hard drive just actually crashed, that would be hysterical. Yep. No, actually the hard drive is actually inside the computer. But you know, it could be worse. Stranger things have happened. Let's try another thing. Okay, yeah, Deadpool. That's a good idea. Don't just jinx it out there. Don't just accidentally something. Ooh, nice. Acid Pro. Ready? Ready for this? Yes. Acid Pro has crashed. All these DAWs crash. It's kind of bad. So that's just not going to look too great. And boom. It'll go away. There's a blank black screen. It's not the end of the world. I can always reboot it. But those things happen. No, my last session, we're not going to open that. And what we're going to do, let's try to open that up again. That shouldn't have crashed like that. So we're going to scroll down, find Opus 3. Opus 3. And, where is it? That one? Maybe it's this one. It's gonna do the same thing again. It hates this. It hates the sequence. It really does. I think I did so much stuff on it, but maybe what I'll do is I'll try to load up the radio edit and see if that will come up. And this is really, really cool for a DAW, isn't it? To show that it doesn't load everything. How many of you people out there actually have problems loading up like old files and old sessions from your DAWs? I'm sure I'm not the only one who does, but let's try this one more time. And it gets 3 minutes in, 3% in, and it starts acting stupid. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out exactly what's going on with that. So I apologize. This has been one of those very strange streams where things are crashing. Oh God, After Effects. Deadpool, you should do a stream about After Effects. You're really, really good with that. Just saying. Okay, so this is bad. This is not a good showing for Acid Pro. Last week it was good, but this week it's pretty bad. Okay, so do not send. That crashes one more time. No Kirsty Hawkshaw today. I guess Acid Pro just doesn't like her. We do, but you know, I can't make this machine do what it doesn't want to do. Not at least live anyhow, unless I take a sledgehammer to it. But there was another project here that I wanted to show you. You heard of the artist Nightbird. She was the person who actually did well. She got the golden buzzer on America's Got Talent. Unfortunately, she died before she could make it to the finals. But yeah, this was a she went viral on this song. Yeah, see, that one loads up really good. For some reason, I think it's just some backup files for Kirsty Hawkshaw. That's the reason why it's not working so well. I'll address that later. But this is one of those instances where I do know how I did this one. This is one where I took the actual track by itself, just a piano track. There was one available. It was basically just like the one that she performed on stage. And I can just play it right here. Boom. What I'm going to do, I'm going to solo it by itself. So this is the original track by itself, and I will start it from that beginning. Okay, where are you? Here we go. Let's see. Turn on the DAW, and let's play some music. started back a little further than I expected, but this has all the parts that you want. So I chopped up the piano parts and just extended them a little bit over the beats. I think the vocal comes in at this point.
I moved to California in the summertime. I changed my name thinking that it would change my mind. I thought that all my problems, they would stay behind. I was a stick of dynamite and it just was a matter of time. Oh dang, oh my, now I can't hide. Said I knew myself, but I guess I lied. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. If you're lost, we're all a little lost, and it's alright, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright.
So yeah, you can already see right there. That's the actual original track by itself. The piano version. She actually had a version of this song that's on Spotify that's more like a pop friendly version that a lot of people don't even know about, but it was the piano version that made her go viral. But anyhow, it's just piano and voice, and those are perfect tracks for remixing. So what I will do, I'll start it back at the beginning. I actually want to start back at the beginning so you can see all the different things that I added to it. So that one track is the only thing that I used as my guide, and I added everything else to it. The beats, I added some violins, a little bit of extra piano. Piano never hurts. So yeah, let's listen to it now with all the extra stuff. Simple little synth effect with a volume envelope. And yeah, this is Miroslav strings. I love using violins, like I said. And I made this into my own loop. And bonus points if you can figure out what I'm mimicking. This pattern came from a particular movie. I can't even remember the name of the movie right now, but I was thinking of a kind of a cheesy 80s film when I made this string. Those are the swooshes. A little bit of bitch makeup never hurt anyone. Once again, that is E-Lab, another bass sound from it. They have so many great bass sounds. I would highly recommend them. E-Lab is really good with that.
I moved to California in the summertime. I changed my name thinking that it would change my mind.
Looks like we have a couple of questions here, so we're going to try to figure out some of these already for you. Wynox, what were you saying? You were wondering about... Interesting. You were wondering what's ascending and descending? I'm not exactly sure what you were referring to. However, we can try to figure that out together. Let me make sure that this is coming up here, so you're not just listening to dead air. But anyhow... I just used a lot of volume envelopes on things. Were you referring to the bass line? The bass line comes in here. This was another E-Lab bass note, and basically I took it and I played it. I just pitched the notes up and down as necessary on the timeline. I could have bounced it out as a loop. Many times I do, but like, you know, if the machine is strong enough to actually handle like a lot of one shots, I'll just do it that way. But yeah, that's just a regular bass note right here. So what I'll do is I will take that part out and we'll make sure that that audio does not come back on. Yeah. Okay, so right here, track 19 is an E-Lab note, is an E-Lab bass note. Simple one like this. Let's see. Turn back on the DAW. It's just a basic note, and I play that as a one shot. It's heavy. It's meaty. We like meaty bass. It always kind of sounds good on the sound system. But anyhow, just a simple note, and all I did was with the EQ. Of course, again, I like to use my side chaining plugin to try to keep the audio nice and clean so that, like, you know, too many things are not trying to hit on the same beat at the same time. Quick envelope. And then that way you can have everything on the timeline and not clashing and not accidentally, like, you know, peaking and distorting here on the red. Deadpool. When you use Acid Pro, do you use physical controllers or do you always just use mouse and keyboard to do everything? Well, I started just using mouse and keyboard. Main reason for that, believe it or not, has something to do with me and like having a adverse effect in MIDI. I remember when I was first starting to learn how to mix, I was using Studio Vision Pro and things like that, and I used to absolutely dread everything. Like, you know, you try to have everything set, you save the preferences in the files, you try to save all the settings, and then when you get back the next day, you have to reload everything is off. So you spend like 2 hours resetting your MIDI. And I know it's better now, but like I got so used to just using mouse and keyboard that I can do the remix on a mouse and keyboard very quickly. Although I am getting more gear. I mean, I do like the idea of having on-board controls, especially when I'm trying to do, like, you know, a filter envelope or something like that. When I'm trying to control like how bright or how muted or muffled or filtered any of the sounds, it's good to have a knob for that. Yes, we said knobs. Deadpool, don't say anything naughty. I said the word knob. But it's good to have that type of control when you're doing things like that, you know. But yeah, mouse and keyboard is basically how I do a lot of this stuff, you know. For a lot of people, that might be the only way you could do it until you can start actually affording MIDI gear. So none of it is wrong. None of it is wrong at all. You guys can still hear me out there. It looks like you can. Okay. But yeah, going back to the bass note. Let me go back in here. I did a little bit of EQ using that cheat sheet. Once again, I rolled off a lot of the bass, a lot of the sounds under 80 hertz. That way, the kick has all of this domain here, and the bass won't compete with the kick as much. If you want to hear what I'm talking about, let's put that there, and the kick is right up here, and then we can play the two of them together, and we'll see what I'm talking about. Now the main thing here is like the bass line. You just want it to be heard. You don't necessarily need it to be felt. That's the reason why I rolled off the bass the way I did. Around the 80 hertz, you wind up hearing the bass more. Your ears kind of tune to it. And remember, the kick, you wind up hearing more of the tapping of it, the sharpness of it, and the boom of it is stuff that you kind of feel more. And these are all more for feeling. That's where you start getting into sub bass and things like that. So give the kick all of this, and then let the bass come in afterwards, but not too high. You know, certain places you can actually enhance a little bit, so you can get a little bit more of the boom. You can take away some of the muddiness. On track 3, on like the third parameter, they always talk about taking out some of the bass, or at least taking out some of the EQ. Let me go back into this and show that just a little bit more. We got this music playing here. So yeah, right around here, like around the 250 to 400 hertz, they talk about things getting really muddy. And that's something that happens with like a lot of DAWs, especially Acid Pro. I had to learn how to like try to keep things a little brighter. So with like a lot of elements, I wound up having to dip in that frequency anywhere from like -1 to -3 dB. That allows it to like not be as cluttered. And then there's other instruments and things that can come through in that area and sound a little clearer. And they're not fighting with like bass notes or anything that's on the lower end of the spectrum. It's something that I'm still struggling with, because it's like, you know, every track has a different sound, and you gotta fight that synth or fight that bass or fight that, you know, that synth pad or whatever it is that needs that particular space. So I do that every so often, especially with bass notes and kicks. That way there's room. And then with number 4, I did a little bit of a boost just to make it a little brighter. It gives it a little bit more teeth, so you can hear like that little buzzing noise that the bass actually has. I could have been really obnoxious and boosted the whole thing up, but like, you know, I just needed just enough so you can hear it over the kick. So let's go back into this. Let's see. We got that going on here. That's the kick and the bass. Hold on for a second. Sorry about that. I definitely don't want to cough in your ears, guys. So we're gonna start playing this again. So now I'm gonna start adding some of the other drum loops that I had in here, like this one. This is a top loop. And this is another top loop. I like to take a bunch of different top loops and have them go together. Like to have them going, like they layer together, and then that way that fills up more of the space. Like if I take one out, that has like light percussion in the background and a very sleazy sounding clap. It's kind of weird talking about having a sleazy clap on a Nightbird record. There was nothing sleazy about her. She was such a beautiful soul. It's too bad she passed away before she could go any further on America's Got Talent. Is that a double bass hit on purpose, or is that an echo? We're talking about the bass. It's just that note, and I don't think I actually added any real effects to that. Let's go back into the frequency. No, it's just a note by itself with a little bit of EQ and a little bit of sidechain. It may look like I doubled up on it because it's a little zoomed out, but I will zoom in now so you can kind of see it. See, it's every individual note. One, and sometimes the notes are close together when it actually changes into the, when it changes, it goes up or goes down the scale. So that's the reason why it may sound like they are doubled up, but they're not. And together with the kick, remember the kick also has low frequency as well. So together they can sound like they can kind of fill in extra space in that low end, so it can kind of give you the feeling that it sounds like an echo. But the bass by itself, why don't we actually do that, and you can see what I mean. Okay, we'll make sure everything's on, but now we're just gonna play the bass by itself. So first we'll do the bass by itself, and then I'll put the kick back on so you can see if you can hear the difference here. So let's check this out. So that's the bass by itself, and it actually does like a really annoying clipping thing that I thought I got rid of them all, but like somehow it didn't affect the final mix. But I can show you guys that later. I can show you a way to like get rid of that nasty clipping noise when you're trying to use samples like this. All right, so here's the kick by itself. This is like one of my favorite kicks right now, and it actually came from, let's see, what's the name of the company here? Oh, it's down here. Okay, I'll pick it up here. It's by Defected, believe it or not. Defected has a whole bunch of like sound kits. They're available everywhere. Actually, Loop Masters has them. I think you can get them off of Beatport, because I know they sell loops too. But the ATFC has some really, really good sounds, and I've been in love with this particular kick for a while. I've been using this in almost every one of my productions for like the last year or so. Let's just play the kick by itself, and let's actually see the effects change. And it's just the kick by itself. This is just a sample as it is from this kit. And all I did was I rolled off some frequencies before 40, because this is just the frequencies that you feel. You don't hear anything, really don't hear anything before that. And I got into the habit of rolling off before 40, because that kind of tries to mimic the warmer sound you used to hear on vinyl. It doesn't always work, but it does have some level of effect to it. And then there's some places where I actually boosted it so you can hear more of a snap or more of that pop to the kick, and tried to make it less muddy, just a little bit. But here's the kick by itself, and let me just play that right now. Get this here, and let's go. So it sounds like the kick itself actually has a little bit of a reverby feel to it already. So that's probably what you're hearing. It's not coming from the bass. It's definitely coming from the kick. But then when you put them both together, that's when you get that, you really hear the effect. And it almost sounds like the bass is reverbing, but it's actually the kick. Yeah, it's very interesting, because when you're on the dance floor and you're out there, you're hearing everything playing at the same exact time. You never really know exactly what's doing what. You just hear the final product, and and hopefully it sounds good. You know, we pray to God that it sounds good. We try so hard to make these records sound good. But the reverb was, the little echo was coming from the kick, and not the bass note. But together it creates that feeling and that effect. Let me go back to the top loops. I actually had this one on and this one on. The DHS house loops that actually came from Loop Masters, as you can see here. They have a whole bunch of They have a whole bunch of everything. I would definitely go check them out. I don't know how many more times I can tell you to go check out Loop Masters. There's other companies, but I love them. Head Candy Disco House. That's another folder of nice sound effects and loops and beats and grooves. You can check them out as well. And together, when I get that top loop here, what I'll do is I'll play that top loop by itself. Actually, let me show you the EQ that I did with this as well. That was kind of strange. What was I feeling when I did this? That's weird. I try to roll off most of the top loops before 200, only because if I only want the higher end, I really don't want any low frequencies from these loops affecting this. So for some strange reason, I kind of didn't do a huge roll off like I usually did on that particular loop. But I guess it worked, so I'm not going to do too much more readjusting. But see, here's another one where I actually did more like what I usually do. Here at the frequency 200, I roll off, and then that way, none of these extra loops that may have a subtle low end to it that you may not hear or feel, whatever it is, but you just eliminate it so that your bass as well as your kick can actually have the room that it needs to have. But together, this is what these two top loops sound together. And now I'll add back the kick to this. Just keeps everything nice and crisp and clear. That's the whole idea with the extra EQing here. And the things that you wind up doing on the track level, when you can clean them up there, when you have to do the mastering, there's a lot less mastering you have to deal with. Because if you're using your mastering plugin and there's this is Ozone 3, you don't want to be having to you don't want to have to turn up these things past 3 dB or anything like that, unless you're just trying to do something hyper dramatic, which we won't talk about. We're not doing any records like that right now, but you don't want to be doing too much with this. You just want the touches to be just enough so you can get that extra boost, that extra bump, that extra thump, or that little extra brightness in the track that you want. But yeah, we'll go through Ozone. I'll show you the extra stuff in Ozone at some point. Kathy Shaker, I can give you a little story on that. That's actually one of my own loops. Yeah, before I used to buy a whole bunch of royalty-free loops. I used to just sample the heck out of all my music, and many people will tell you that's sometimes the best thing to do. Go through your music collection and just find whatever songs you like, and if you like that noise, if you like that drum, if you like that synth or that horn, just take it directly from the record or the CD that you got. And I think some of you already know how to do that. You just need an audio editor for that. But anyhow, I did this shaker. This shaker's almost in everything that I make. Let's just play it like this. Just a simple shaker, but it just kind of sits where it needs to sit, and it always fills the track very nicely. There's a little reverb to it as well. I think the one person who actually clocked me on this sample, believe it or not, this sample and the other one that's going to be coming up, DJ producer Michael T. Diamond. I'm not sure who. Do you guys know who that is? I know some of you do. I know some of you old school heads would. People who remember his records back in the 90s and stuff like that. He did Hell's Bells, and he did a whole bunch of big club anthems back in the day. But what wound up happening was, at times producers wind up trying to create their own signature sound so that they have a particular way of EQing a kick they have certain types of instruments and sounds that when you can hear it right away, you would know exactly who the producer is. Like, for instance, I learned that from DJ producer Kerry Chandler. If you listen to a Kerry Chandler record, you will always hear a particular kick. That kick, that thump is signature his. No one else has EQ'd a kick quite like that. In fact, even when you sample it, it doesn't sound exactly like the way he does it, but you know it comes from him. So I wound up using this Kathy shaker, which that just talks about that Kathy represents a project that I did beforehand, so I can know exactly if I wanted to duplicate a certain sound from a record I did previously. I can look at it and go, oh yeah, that came from my Kathy Dennis remix to Touch Me All Night Long, which I have somewhere around here. And these hats, or this other shaker, is something similar. This is really more like my tambourine, but this is in almost every single record I make. And it just perfectly fills in space. NVS, and that's NVSM. That's actually one of the very first mashups I ever did, and it's actually really popular. It's going around on YouTube. It's going around the internet as my erotica remix, but it was actually a mashup of John Creamer and Stefan K's I Wish You Were Here with erotica, but no one actually references I Wish You Were Here. They just go straight to the Madonna. I don't know why they did that, but it's been around forever. But I've been using that ever since I created this little shaker, this little tambourine thing back then. So here it is almost, let's see how far back. Almost 20 years later, I'm still using this. This is a 20-year-old sample, a 20-year-old loop. I just think it sounds right for a tambourine. And, you just roll off a little bit underneath. You don't necessarily need to roll off as much unless you just really want it to be super high and more on the shrill side. But I just rolled off up to 120 on that one. So I'm going to go back and start playing this some more. So let's go back in here and see. Let's actually, let me see what we're going to do. Let's just go back and start playing the whole thing again. And we will see what else comes up. Gotta turn back on my mic. Don't want to talk without a microphone. That would look really, really, really silly. But yeah, that's about it with that. I mean, that was a simple remix for us to do. I did that with Brian Halligan. He gave me the He gave me the great idea with it, and I just ran with it. So, and yeah, a little bit. This is Ozone 3. This has been like the little quickie program that I've been using for mastering, and a lot of people don't realize like how powerful this is. They're trying to use such huge programs, but this is simple enough to get like a lot of the jobs done, a lot of the work done that you would need And yeah, a paragraphic EQ, master reverb that basically has that gives the entire track reverb. You give it just a touch, and this program actually does really well with like giving just a hint, and it makes the record sound a little bit bigger. It makes it sound like, you know, more of a big room record. And you don't need to add much to it, to be honest with you. I don't really go past this with the reverb. It can be really strong on here. The maximizer, you obviously don't want to do too much with this, because then you start making the frequencies just like hurt your ears. I don't like doing that with records, but just a touch so you can just start getting a little bit more loudness with the record. And then there's other things as well that I just do some slight adjustments to. But yeah, this plugin does great work. If you can actually get your hands on the older Ozone 3, it's good to have as a reliable standby. If you just need to do something fast, and especially if you don't have like your main mastering program, whichever one that turns out to be, whether it be Waves or Universal, whatever it is. Conrad Boston's in the house. How are you? I have a beat. Yes, Conrad, I know you do. We're going to have to get you in here so we can work together and try to make whatever that beat is into something we can dance to it. We could probably dance to it already. But anyhow, I'm going to turn this down now, and I'm going to try to find another song. I'm going to try to find something else. Let's see. Wynox said the XX. So yeah, I actually did this mix. I did the XX a while ago, and then I wound up actually not liking it. There was something wrong. I thought there was something wrong with it, so I put it away. But then as of last year, I actually revisited. I actually went back to it to try to do some readjustments, and I think I was able to like kind of nail it. So, well, at least make it so that I was happy with it. You know, I'm never 100% happy with any of my mixes. There's always something you can add to it. But this is the song Sunset. You've probably heard me play this on my show too. So for people who don't know what this is, I will start playing it right now. Let me forward this a little bit. This is one of the main things about my remixes. I always have long intros, and I know when it comes to, like, you know, sometimes people on the dance floor, they want the meat and potatoes right away. So, like, I need to, like, forward this up a little bit so you guys can hear what we're talking about. So let's go here. Lendo 7777 trying to make it naughty. yeah, the XX. And yes, Winox. I am still really, really jealous that you got a chance to go see them, but you were awesome enough to get me an XX T-shirt, so somewhat forgiven. But we have to go see the XX together. Speaking of which, if you haven't heard Oliver Sims' music from that group, wait till you hear some of their solo stuff that he's coming up with. But this project was interesting because I initially started using the original track by itself because, of course, if you know the original track, there's not a lot of drum. I mean, it's very guitar driven, and the vocal was always the trickiest part on this record because the vocal was very faint in a lot of different areas, whether it be the woman or the guy singing. And that was always a problem when I added all the extra sound effects and the beats and the bass lines because it covered up the vocal. You could definitely hear the guitar because it was very easy to sample the guitar from the original, which is what I did up here. But then when I went to try to play the original, at some point, like after I finished mixing everything, I hated the fact that you couldn't hear the vocal clear enough. Some people actually liked it because that's how they sung it, but I kind of wanted this to be like a vocal you heard. So I wound up like playing it for a bit. I didn't like my final EQ, so then I just kind of said, screw it. But then, and this is a very exciting little then, because what wound up happening was that there were some new tools that came about that made it a little bit easier to get actual parts from records, even if you can't get the original stems. And some of you guys might know some of these things. I'm actually going to show you one of them in just about a minute. But what I was able to do, I was able to take the original track and put it through some of these new systems, these new AIs, and they were able to isolate the vocal enough of more of the vocal by itself. So what I was able to do, I can layer the vocal on the original track. So now it's like the vocalist, you just layered the vocal and made it a little bit louder. So that's the reason why it just kind of worked. And I was able to like boost the voice when I wanted her to be heard or when I wanted the male vocal to be heard more. And that way I was able to like get a more satisfying mix. So let me see here. The original track by, of course, was right here.
I saw you again. It felt like we had never met.
And you'll notice right away, I EQ'd a lot of it out of the way. Like, I tried to take away a lot of the initial bass from it because I was adding my own bass, adding my own kick. I didn't want to try to make it too bright or anything like that. Added a touch of reverb because, reverb has a tendency to try to make things a little pretty. A little filter so I could really try to, like, roll off low end on that as well. I didn't want to do it just through the track EQ. I also used a filter to just get rid of like a lot of frequencies below 500, and I did it as a high pass. If I took all this stuff off, you would hear more of the original the way it was, and it just makes more sense. So let's play it like this.
I saw you again. It felt like we had never met. It's like the sunset in your eyes. I never wanted to rise. What have you done with the one I love? When I look into your eyes, I see no surprise.
You see, when I added more of my EQ, especially with the filter, it was able to take away a lot of that low ed from the original, and you definitely needed that out of the way. Because if I tried to add a kick on top of that the way it would have just been super, super thumpy, and you would have never heard the vocal. And of course, I also did my little side chaining here, just enough so that the kick from here could duck a little bit more.
I saw you again.
You don't really hear it that much here in the mix, but it makes more sense when I put the kick back on. And where is the kick on this one? Believe it or not, this is one of the kicks that I actually sampled, one of the many kicks I sampled off of a CD. Come on, we sample from everything. The kick goes all the way back to the beginning. It's right here. There was a track on, I think, was it Club? Was it Star 69 or was it Twisted? Dollhead. There was, I didn't care that much for the track, but the drum was actually really, really good. And how many people out here who make music who actually bought a track, not necessarily because you like the track, but because you actually like the sound on it? I've actually spent $10, $15 for a piece of vinyl just because I like the particular drum on it. And I knew at some point I was going to sample it and use it in the track. That's kind of weird. That's something like only producers do. No one else does things like that. We are strange people. But this was the sample I took from that record. I don't remember the name of the name of the track. I just do know I labeled it Dollhead, so I know what I'm getting myself into when I use it. And this is the initial sample. Oh, that's not terribly loud. Can't really boost it too much from there, but I'll do it from the sequence itself where you can hear more. Let's go. As you can see, there's already a lot more action going on here. It's not just a kick. There's a little bit of a hat on there as well. Makes it a little bit easier to use because, like, you don't have to add, less instruments you have to add to your track. And I chopped it just enough so that people don't necessarily recognize it right away. It even kind of sounds like the kick that Deep Dish used when they remixed Innocente on, I forgot, Delirium Records or something like that. And what I also did, I took the kick again and doubled it up at this point so I can even disguise it a little bit more. But this is the reason why you hear this thump. Once you have the data, you can do whatever the heck you want with it, and that's what just makes it fun. That's why I like using wave data so much. But when those are going together, let's see. Let's go back to the vocal before I actually show you how I got where I went to get the actual additional vocal from. I'm gonna go back here. We're gonna turn on the original Sunset. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and I'm going to take off all of the effects that I did to try to clean up the original. Now, when you hear them both playing together, you'll hear exactly how thumpy. Okay, well, come on, Lindo. I have to explain what I'm doing here. Come on. So, this is the reason why I did all the EQ. Listen to this.
We make believe. Your face,
very thumpy. So let me start adding this bit by bit here.
We make believe. I've never seen your face, don't catch my eye.
You can see what I did with that especially with the resonant filter. It was able to take away a lot of the thumpiness, and you can hear the Sunset record, but that's where the vocal gets lost because, like, the vocal, especially the male vocal, is also kind of bassy. So, how did I get this actual vocal by itself? Some of you producers know about this. I'm not sure if all of you do, but I'm going to show it to you right now. There is a website out there that you might want to check out called La La. La 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 la. I call it la 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 la. I think Usher made a song called that too, but that's a whole different story. This website is actually really, really freaking cool. It's exactly what it says. You can actually drop a sound file in here, and you can get actual parts. And there's a couple of other programs out there. I think there's one from there's one on Algorithm DJ. It's built into the software. And that one's pretty good too. It's Mac only. This one is just a website that does it, and it actually allows you to do it up to 10 minutes of audio for free, if just for testing it out. But if you pay if you pay them for it, give them like, $15, $30, you can do up to like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours worth of audio. So if you're doing pop records, you can see exactly how much information you can just rip the audio from. So for people who don't know how good this is, what I'm going to do is this. I am going to demonstrate how cool this is. I am going to find a song, and I think I know exactly which one I want to find. We're going to do James Brown. Why not? Let's do a James Brown record. We'll do Get Up Off of That Thing. So all I'll just take the file, drop it in, and then the website does all the work. So yeah, as it's processing right now. You really need to see this. This actually really, really works well. It's actually one of the better AIs that are out there right now, and I know they're going to get better. They're not perfect. They're not perfect stems. None of these are so super clean that, like, they're not studio quality clean, but they're clean enough that you can actually get away with using some of the parts in a track. So looks like it's processed. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to allow, I love this tool. We're going to play the actual parts by itself. It gave us vocal and instrumental, but as you can see, you can break it down. You can get bass, electric guitars, piano, synthesizer. If it has it in the track, it can actually isolate all that stuff, and you can get the parts for your own use. So here's the instrumental of the track right here. It's really good at getting it's really good at getting a lot of the parts, the instrumentals, the music. It's really, really good at it. But a lot of people are doing this for the acapella for obvious reasons. So, although certain records are good with this, like more earlier records, acoustic music, it's better with the acoustic stuff than it is electronic stuff, and it's never perfect. However, this is actually not too bad of a vocal. Check this out.
Trash down. Yeah. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Get up off of that thing and dance to you feel better. Get up off of that thing and dance to you. Sing it now. Get up off of that thing and dance to you feel better. Get up off of that thing and try to release that pressure. Get up off of that thing and shake till you feel better. Get up off of that thing.
It's actually pretty darn good. You could definitely hear some places where it didn't get the vocal perfectly clean, but then you could take an acapella just like this, and you can just add it to your sequence, and it will boost the vocal. If you need to layer the vocal, there you go. Now you have an extra vocal take that you could use. If you're just like doing little white label bootlegs like me or whatever it is, if you don't have the original parts. And like again, you definitely want to check this out because like I said, a one-time fee of $30, they'll let you do up to like 5 hours worth of audio, and they can give it to you in all these different file formats. Definitely check it out if you are interested in things like that. But that's exactly what I wound up doing when I got the Sunset vocal. I put it through and I made sure to get the vocal by itself. Let's try to solo out the vocal now. The additional rip of the vocal. So this is what it sounds like.
I always thought it was sad when we act like strangers after all that we had. We act like we had never met.
See, like even in that one, you could definitely hear some of the other instruments and music Sometimes with certain vocals, especially the way that it was EQ'd in the original record, there's no way to get it perfectly clean. But if you get it clean enough, you can actually start playing with it. Let's go here. Like, there's another vocal part that I did right here. So
you again. It felt like we had never met. It's like sunset in your eyes.
And of course, what I did with this vocal as well, I added a few extra effects. And Wyatt Knox is turning me different colors. Oh my God, I look like Fanta Orange right now. Yes, if you know how to do it, if you are a subscriber here, you get to do weird things to my lights. But I took the vocal. Let's get back to just the record. I took the vocal, bounced it out through La La, and I did a few extra tricks, like, you know, a little simple delay, reverb. They make it sound more dreamy because the record was initially dreamy. But you put the two together. Now the vocal's a little louder.
I saw you again. It felt like we had never met. It's like sunset in your eyes.
And now I can put the kickback on.
What have you done with the one I love? When I look into your eyes, I see no surprise. I always thought it was sad. We act like strangers after all that we have. We act like we had love. I always thought it was sad. We act like strangers after all that we have. We act like we had love.
And the hard part with the male vocal sounds better too. Bitch makeup. So yeah, there you go. This was it was really good to be able to get back to this record, mainly only because I was able to get those extra stems and extra parts to it. There's actually a bunch of other records I have to do this to now that I know I can get the extra parts and isolate them a little bit better and layer them a little bit. Not to say that all I do is sit here and make a bunch of white labels and bootlegs. I mean, I do my share, but you know, it's good to have like a secret private mix to a pop record or a record that people know but may have never heard before in a different way. It's good to have that type of collection, as you would say. Wyatt Knox is now requesting Lustral. Okay, so Lustral. Let me see if I have that here on the on my computer here. I think I still have that sequence. Let me take a look. What I did with Lustral, that's actually more like a re-edit. I didn't do a full remix on that because I really didn't make most of the beats on that. There was a version that existed, and I just felt like it just needed more. And let me try to find it here, and I'm not sure if it's on here. If it's not on here, I will definitely have it for the next stream. But I think I do. Lula Laverne. No, I don't have it on here. Ah! Oh, wait. No? Was it in here? Where is Lustral? I think I have it on here. Let me double check and let me search for it one more time. We will search for it and let me type it in. Do I have... There's the acapella. I do have it on here. Okay. Where is the folder? MS. Oh, God. This goes way back. It's in one of my backup folders, so at least I can find the path. MSP storage. All right, so the acapella gives you a hint. Now, the version that was out, there was a remix that came out way back, and it was actually really, really good. It was by Funk Agenda. Some people might know who that DJ producer is. He was hot for a good minute. And as I'm looking for this, but when he did his version, he didn't use a lot of the acapella. He didn't use, for me at least, he didn't use enough of the acapella. He didn't use much of that at all, if at any. And now I'm looking for that. They just gave me the path. Come on, where is it? Sequence data. That's why I'm looking at the wrong folder. MSP storage. So yeah, there wasn't a lot of the acapella in it. And I remember I was trying when I was playing it, I was trying to like add the extra acapella that was left out of the track. So that's where a lot of this comes from. And right now I am just drawing a blank on where that particular folder is, even though I just saw the path. So I'm going to double click on it from here. Let's search it back again and get that back up here because I am an airhead. Lustral. So what I did is like I figured out, I just added my own beats, a few extra beats to it. And I wound up adding more the acapella because people wanted to hear the full song. It wasn't enough just to hear like, you know, the violins and the synth parts and all that other stuff. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to shut this one down. Oh boy, here we go. It's a mess. Let me reboot it. We're gonna reboot that right now and start it up from here. And we'll get Acid back up and running. And we'll probably have to find the files for this because it's been a while since I played this sequence. So let's get all the files back into place. Oh, which one was that? That's Drum 2. Probably in folder D. There we go. Yep, I've used that plenty of times. This is the unfortunate thing when I'm like getting like all these older projects together. I know I have all the sounds, but like since I haven't pulled up the sequence in like forever, it's gonna make me go through this for almost every sound. But at least luckily I can find them. All right, but it will be here momentarily once I have everything up and running. If you don't mind, with a little. Lendo, can I CC you these files? You know what? That might actually not be a bad idea. Like, you know, there are certain things I'm trying to do with this particular stream, including making music with people. You know, we could just take a couple of sound kits together and just be funny and just try to make something right on the spot. But if it turns out to be really good, I can just offer not only just a mix down, but I can offer the session files so people can just play around with it on their own. You know, maybe we could even release some stuff on SoundGroove. Why the heck not? But anyhow, let's get into this. So now I got Lustral Every Time up here. This is more, I call this more of a re-edit. It's not like my official remix, because like, again, a lot of this is based on the Funk Agenda original. Funk Agenda did his remix. That's available right now. You can get that anywhere. So like, if you've never heard it, this is funk. This just give you a dose of the Funk Agenda original. Or and I'll fast forward it here and there, just so you can see where certain things transition, where certain things, how things certain things sound. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's very stripped down, and it's really good for after hours. It's a really, really good record. I loved playing this. But you got to this breakdown, and there was no vocal. It killed me. Like, I really just wanted to hear this. I wanted to hear the actual song. It just goes like this. It's gorgeous, but where's the vocal? It's just too much teasing. I was just like, you know what? You had to add more to this. There was no. I was just like, oh my god. So like, I used to always play the acapella to Every Time, which is available at a lot of places. It's been around for a while, but I figured I would add the acapella to it. But then that gave me chances to actually add a few extra drums and kind of make it more like a Midnight Society thing. So that's why I have the version that I currently have, and I'm going to try to play it from here and pray to God that it sounds the way it should. Let's press a button here. So yeah, you can hear the original Funk Agenda underneath that. But I added an extra kick to it, a sharper kick to it, so it can pound just a little bit more. And this filtering in right here, it's tribal drums. Had to add a few more drums to the track. I mean, it's Midnight Society. We have to add drums, right? Okay, by itself. That's Funk Agenda by itself. And now with the extra elements that I added to it. And now the vocal. Yep, I even added a different bass line to it as well. And more drums. Again, let's go to the original. And now with all my additionals. I think the extra drums, the extra bass, the few extra elements in it just helps to pick the entire track up. And of course, now we're getting into the breakdown. And the breakdown with the vocal just makes this whole track sound so much better.
Every time I close my eyes, I see your face. Every time I close my eyes, I see your
I think it sounds a lot better with some of the extra elements to it, including the bitch makeup, the swooshes and whooshes. I always call it bitch makeup. But see, the track when it picks back up by itself, it sounds gorgeous, but without the extra elements. It's so different without that extra energy. It sounds lush, it sounds beautiful, but it's not the anthem that it could be. Even an after-hour anthem, it's not the pick-me-up that it could be. So all I really did was add all those extra elements to it. I didn't actually do much to it. So like I never called this an actual remix. I called it a re-edit. I called it like Midnight Society versus Funk Agenda re-edit. So like, no, people weren't out there like, oh, you're trying to take his beats. It's like, no. I just added some extra stuff to it. You know, by itself. Like this is all my own this is all my sequencing by itself.
You're with me all the time. Every time I close my eyes, I see your face. Every time I close my eyes, I see your
Then, of course, at some point, I bring the vocal back in, and I bring the bass line back in, and, you know, make sure that people could, make sure people just get, like, you know, the crescendo and the climax of the track like they always wanted, blah, 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 you know. But that's what I did with the Lustral. That's a good suggestion, why not? 'Cause I forgot that I actually had that sequence here on this computer, and it was kind of cool to relive that. I did this when did I do this? I did this back in, I think, in like 2008. It's been around for a bit. I've had it for quite some time. Let's see. So we got about 12 more minutes before we will call it a night. Are there any more suggestions out there? Any other tracks that people might be interested in seeing the sequence or hearing some beats from? What I'm also going to do at some point, Happy Place Travelers in the house. Hey, how are you? Yes, we are here. Actually, I'm looking at this folder now and I'm realizing there's a lot of my very first projects are in here. Some of my very earliest projects when I first got started with Midnight Society, when I was working closer with my good friend, DJ producer Enrique Iglesias, who now has his own label, Underground Records. Make sure to support him and buy all of that music because he's doing really, really, really cool. And, you see the Daft Punk edit here? I'm not sure if it's this far back. I know I did two things with Daft Punk. Back in the day, I did a mashup between Daft Punk's Around the World and Neo's I Can't Stop. I did that as just like a really fun, silly peak hour record. So like I could play like main vocals for people, pop vocals for people. Hey there, love your early productions because it gives a place for comparison. Yeah, it is. It shows a lot of growth. Like I'm like looking at some of these things, going, "Oh my God, I remember when I did this," and like a lot of things where I definitely would love to revisit. There's projects like I've never finished, like Ghost in the Machine. I never finished that. I was trying a Depeche Mode that I never finished. This is interesting. This was like a mashup that a crazy mashup that I did between Super Chumbo, DJ Vibe, and Pete the Zook, and there's even some Daft Punk samples on there as well. Like this was actually a big record, big white label for me. I did this back in the days of the Winter Music Conference. I think Tracy Young was the first one to play it, and then who else? Do I have it? Should I pull this up? Let's see if it'll boot up. And this was like popular for a bit on Danny Teneglia's website when he had the D-Tourism page. Let's see if she boots. Okay, let's see if we can find the sounds. But yeah, let me know in the Discord if there's any particular tracks you want me to go through and find the data and find the bits and try to like explain some of the stuff I did in it. And holy cow, this comes up. This is definitely one of the longest records I ever did. Let's see. She's 13 minutes long. For people who said longer is better, here you go. This is like stuff that like got me kind of stereotyped in the industry because everyone knew I like to make those long records. You might have heard me play this on the stream. Explosive Radio's in the house. How are you? Solstice. I don't think I ever finished the Solstice. No, I think I know what you're talking about now. That's going to be a hard one for me to find, but I'm definitely going to look for that in the backups because I wouldn't actually mind doing an update to that if it's the song that I think it is. But this is the mashup. I called it the Textured Revolution. Now this takes the Revolution from Super Chumbo, Solid Textures from DJ Vibe and Pete the Zook, and I also sampled some of Super Chumbo's Get Your Freak On, the drums from that. So there's a lot going on in here. And it went for 13 friggin' minutes. Let's start it here. This is definitely a mashup. I would never call this an original remix. I actually got the drum idea after hearing Tom Stefan do his Essential mix. So that was also part of this mashup that I did. DJ Conrad Boston, thank you so much for the resubscription. The Revolution sample came from Daft Punk. That was Revolution 909, and I think it was either Roger Sanchez or Junior Sanchez who did the remix. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this record. Tons and tons of things going on this record. So just stopping it right there, there's a lot going on. So for people who don't know, DJ Vibe and Pete Zook did a tribal record that was probably one of the biggest tribal records to ever come out of Portugal. And I sampled that drum beat and used that as one of the things going on in the background. I actually did this mashup because I knew I was going to be playing in Portugal, and I wanted to do something really funny. Well, I thought was really funny and really cool with like that tribal anthem of a record of theirs. The Solid Textures loop is this. So I'm sure some of you will know that drum loop already. And I'm sure Explosive Radio knows that he plays a lot of After Hours. This was a big drum. This was a big tribal record from back in the day. And of course, people know the Get Your Freak On tribal beat, which is now sampled in almost 50 tribal records a day. Tom Stefan sampled it, but it actually is a drum groove that came from Seven Fisher, and I'm trying to remember exactly which name of the record it was. But so yeah, there's a little bit of Seven Fisher in this, but then of course when Get Your Freak On was used on it, it was definitely a even bigger record. Yep, sounds like Deep Dark. Yeah, I think it was in Deep Dark Jungle as well. That has been sampled in a lot of tribal and a lot of anthem records. So you will hear that a lot. And of course, the synth. It was very easy to get that. You can get that actually from the original record. So add a little reverb, filter it down, etc., etc. And yeah, this record just, well, if you've heard me play this record, then you know it just goes in so many friggin' directions. But then, so let's play a little bit more of it. What's going on, Cookie Monster? What year was this? I think I did this around 2007, 2006, 2007. Yeah, mid 2000s, definitely. Only because I know the DJ Vibe and Pete Zook came out later. Like, knowing the timelines of all the records, like Revolution 909 was first, so I was able to get those samples. And then the Revolution by Super Chumble, that was a massive, massive hit. That came out afterwards, and then the DJ Vibe and Pete Zook, that came out sometime in the mid 2000s, like 2004, 2005. So yeah, so we're already like at that point, 2006, 2007. That's when I wound up doing this mashup. In fact, I even had a point where like I took the infamous synth, that massive synth noise that was from Solid Textures. I actually replayed it and made that into a sound effect in this as well, and people didn't expect that to happen. So they loved it in Portugal. It's actually something I wouldn't mind re-EQing, because I know I did this like 10, 15 years ago, and I know it still works. So I might actually have a session when I just take this record and beef it up and make it sound more current. Not necessarily change the sequence, but just sound cleaner and a little bit more thumpier. And yeah, if we still wind up doing actual records here, actual tracks, and finishing things here, things that I can actually give out, if you are subscribed tier 1 or higher, I will actually give you a copy. That's going to be one of the rules here. So that's something to think about. You know, support me here on Twitch, and I can definitely support you guys with music, as long as I know I can give it out to you guys. I can't just sit here and give you every single little friggin' bootleg I make. I'll get in trouble. I can't do that. So let me save that now. But what I'm going to do before we end tonight's stream, as we go through all these classics, oh my goodness. Here's another good record. Good one. We're gonna do that other record, Why Not? So we're gonna do the AC/DC. We'll do that one on the next stream. That was actually another mashup that I did. I actually was taking a train up from New York all the way to Montreal to do a party with Why Not? I think that was in the Black and Blue that we wound up doing together, the military ball. And I needed something to do because I had a 12-hour train ride. So I made this mashup together, which took Mark Knight's, a track by Mark Knight and Gabriel and Dresden, and I mashed it up with Express 2's AC/DC. And you were able to get all the parts from the AC/DC record if you bought their album, which was available as like a 5-piece vinyl. And if you did, you got a 6th vinyl that took all the tracks and gave you all the parts. Vocals, stems, synths, everything. So you could literally recreate any sample and recreate any single one of the Express 2 tracks off of that album. And it was a really good album too. So I would recommend that. If you ever got your hands on it. I have it up here somewhere in my record collection. I know I don't want to run off and try to get it, but so, okay, Why Not? I'm going to actually put this out there for you. Who did the military ball? Definitely not Chris Harris. This was in Montreal. This wasn't in Boston or New England. And this goes back to, like, I think 2007, 2008. Yeah, that was fun. They were doing it with Why Not? And Eddie Jasmine. Had a really, really good time. I miss Circus. I want to play up there again someday. But Why Not? I'm going to give you the last choice here. We're either going to do Hot and Sweaty, or we're going to do this. Now, I got one of the best requests in my entire life when I went up to the military ball. And, in fact, I think we're going to do this one. If it's here, please be here. Please be here. I think that's, no, actually, that is Eric's version of it. I have to try to find that one, but I got an amazing request on that one, and the way they requested that song, I was just like, oh, I have to play it. Like girls coming up to you going, "You're gonna play Meow, right?" And she said it in such a seductive way, just like, why, yes, I have to play Meow. I never had anyone request a record that I did in such a seductive way before. It was like, she could get you to play anything. You're gonna play Baby Shark, right? Well, yeah, of course I'm gonna play Baby Shark the way she did it. But anyhow, I have to find the actual sequence of mine for Meow. Let me see if I can do that. I'm gonna do one search for Meow, and this will be the last record I go through tonight, and then we'll go raid someone. So if you guys know anyone worth raiding, let me know. And there it is. It is in that folder. Eric Reyes. This was back when Eric was using Eric Reyes as his last name before he switched it to Eric Elias. So sequence data is in the same folder. So I will look for it right now. File open. Boom. Joey Alvarado has to be up here somewhere. Come on, Joey. Where are you? Let's see. Is it here? Oh God, they kill me. My file organization is garbage. Yes, you can tell. I just back up things, and I don't do anything right. So I'm going to do this one more time. Is the sequence here? Yes, it is here. So let me double click on it right now. This goes back to 2007, early days of SoundGroove Records. Really, really early. So let me load up all the sound effects on this now. This is when we were really hungry. We were able to do records once a month. We're going to try to get back to that point. There's just a lot of extra things to be worried about running a record label. Things I didn't think I was going to be doing 16 years later. But, we are here and we're still doing it, which is a good thing. But yeah, as we load up these samples, so yeah, this was actually a really big record for us. In fact, it was featured on Jersey Shore. This was one of the many records that was sampled by, actually featured on the season 4 of Jersey Shore. They sampled they took 12, 13 different records from SoundGroove and used them as part of segments on their show. That was the only time I was ever telling people to watch Jersey Shore in my entire life. I was kind of embarrassed to tell people to watch it, but at the same token, it was really cool to hear SoundGroove music from so many different people on the show. And I have a bunch of clips of them somewhere, but not this version of the mix. They didn't use this version. They used Eric's original, and they used it twice, including on a scene where I guess 2 of the girls were making out. They had a rather lesbianic feature in that show, which that kind of happened a lot, but whatever. Yeah, it was a great time. I loved actually having our music playing on that show, but it was the season when they went to Italy. So if you're if you want to look for them online, they are available, and like I said, they're spread over a bunch of different episodes. But yeah, there's a lot of SoundGroove music on that season. We tried to get a compilation out of that, but unfortunately they weren't going for it. But that's another story. This is the infamous Meow. Yes, we do have to talk about WMC gigs. Why Nux? Do we remember them any? Do we still remember them? I mean, we were kind of drunk on those. Just saying. I won't talk about Saeed's drunkenness, but I know your drunkenness and my drunkenness was pretty epic back then. You can get away with it. Here's Meow. Let's. Ooh, she's off. Okay, so this actually is a good way of being able to show some of extra things on the DAW, because one of the loops is off right away. I can tell right away. It's this one, right? Yeah, so what I need to do is I need to go back into this kick and stretch it properly. I think I just did a 2-beat. Some of y'all might know this treble beat. It's a very sexy tribal beat. It's really, really nasty. I have used it in a lot of records. But anyhow, I was able to refix that. And now let's see if it plays this time. already sounding better. There's a lot of different drum loops going on this one.
Push it. Push it.
I think part of the reason why I really wanted to do this record is because I just wanted an excuse to use the roar sample in a record. I just really wanted to use that in a record someplace. And this was the perfect song for it. And this did really well for us on SoundGroove. Yeah, and there's a couple, like I said, there's a couple of other remixes to this as well. The originals that Eric did were featured on Jersey Shore. And yeah, this had tons of different drum loops going on this. And, you know, back then I wasn't as good with the EQs as I am now. I might actually want to revisit, revamp, and reboot this. But there's tribal beats that I sampled from, let's see if I can remember all the friggin' names. DJ O'Neill, Rick Pierre O'Neill was doing a lot of tribal back then, and I sampled a groove from him. I sampled Peter Rage. He had like a really cool track, a tech house track, and I just snatched it just for a couple of beats from there. And I even sampled my own stuff. I even sampled like grooves that I used on an old Alan T record. I chopped up a whole bunch of different things, and then there's some grooves for a project that never came out by someone by the name of Gustavo. Really good DJ out of New York. Really cute too. That's a whole different story. But yeah, we never finished it. But I used the beats on that, and I just went nuts with it. This was a lot of fun to do, and yeah, when Wayne Knox's friend came up and she just said in a really seductive way, "You're gonna play Meow, right?" When do you ever get like a really cool request of someone just knowing a really dark and dirty underground record and just knows you made it? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, you know, Wayne Knox, did you like get her to do it for me? Like, did you just go up there and just tell her, just go up there and ask him to play Meow? You probably set that whole thing up. We never talked about that. You probably set that up. And if you did, thank you. She did that on herself. Oh my goodness. That was so awesome. I gagged. I laughed. Well, you saw me. I was just like, well, yes, immediately. How many times do you get a cute girl coming up to you and saying, "Can you play Meow?" Yes, that was a long time ago. Happy Place Traveler. Wayne Knox and I, we go way back. Like, we met at the Winter Music Conference. Well, no, we met before the Winter Music Conference, didn't we? did we meet at the Winter Music Conference, or did we meet in we finally met at Montreal? I'm trying to figure out exactly the timeline for this, because Eric and I also had a chance to do the Diversité party. Yes, Diversité. So in Montreal, we knew of each other, but like we met in person in Montreal when we did that festival. And then YA Knox was working with Saeed Yunan from Yunnan Records. That's why he's posting that whole Yunnan remix. And I would see he and Saeed down there every year. We would meet, we would party, we would drink. We would stagger down the streets after about 20 shots of something. It was amazing. We had a lot of fun. I mean, we go that far back, and yeah, we probably have drank enough vodka to restock at least 20 different liquor stores. But that's what we did when we were younger. We don't drink as hard now, but you know, those were the friggin' days. Happy Place Traveler. When you're drinking and dancing, you can burn off the liquor really quickly. Well, maybe we did do 20 shots, but you know, that just goes to show we lost count with how much we were drinking. But we're still alive. As long as we're still alive, we made it through. And yeah, we drink light beer now. Yeah, light beer and water. I drink like, you know, Bacardi out of a can now. Like, you know, this is really cheesy of us. We're not the hard partiers like we used to be. But anyhow, so yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for hanging out with me here. This stream, I kind of went through more of like just remixes in general. I think on the next one, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to the groove that I started when I was trying to give like a quick rundown on how acid works. I did save that sequence. I think I have a really good idea for it, and we're gonna try to develop that out into an actual track. And I will get input from you guys, and you guys will let me know if you like this, if you like other different things with it, if you think it's great, if you think it's total bogus. You know, either way, just let me know. We are definitely going to keep Mondays for the live for the production stream. I'm negotiating whether or not if I want to do the second one on a Thursday. But there's some things happening on that as well. But I definitely want to do 2 streams throughout the week. So it'll either be on a Thursday or it'll be on a Saturday, one of the 2 days, because those are the 2 days I have free for all those other things. And yeah, other ideas for the stream is, like I said, we are gonna make full tracks here, and if we do make whatever tracks we make here, if we can pass them out to people, if you're a subscriber to the station, subscriber to this channel, we'll give you the track for free as a promo. If it's going to be coming out on SoundGroove Records, you'll get it a couple of weeks before it actually is available on TrackSource and everything else like that. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing some SoundGroove Records projects here live in the mix as well. We got some guest DJs and guest producers who's going to be joining us. I know I'm going to be speaking to Techno Dude. We're going to do something together. Who else? There's going to be a lot of other producers. I'm just going to try to get down here. Like, I'll talk to Leo Arlecon, who's a producer out here in Boston. Does a lot of drums, and he produced for SoundGroove. Reginald Johnson. We may even get Mike Ivy here. And once we get the whole remote stuff set up here, we will definitely be getting even more producers from around the world, because there's over 100 of them on the label. Who would have thought would have had this many people on SoundGroove? I certainly didn't think I would, but here we are, getting ready to go into a 17th year, and we have tons of people that we can feature here. Explosive Radio, DJ Sketch One. We definitely have to get him on here as well, because that nice talk we had last week, I found out that he is a major user of Acid Pro. So it will be good to see how another person who uses this program see his workflow and give people some ideas. And yeah, that's some of the other things that we're going to be doing here. Talking music, having all sorts of fun, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it, not be completely bored out of your bored out of your wits wondering exactly how I'm putting things together. Things will be more structured. Okay, so that is it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will let you all know when the next stream is. Again, if you have any suggestions, please place them in my Discord. This is a stream that is in development, and I really want this to be like really, really cool for all of you guys out there. Ant Nero number 9, dude, how are you? You're coming in at the last second. What's going on, my friend? We're finishing up now. Again, put stuff in the Discord. I want to read all the comments and figure out exactly how I should develop this stream and make it more entertaining and more exciting for all of you guys, because there's a lot of things that we can do with this. We're going to go raid. Who should we raid? We did Hominy last time, so we can't do it again twice, although I love his streams. Make sure to support him, of course. But here's a guy. We're going to go check out Liquid Todd. He's on right now. And Liquid Todd is always a lot of fun. And if you don't know anything about him, yeah, he used to be out here in Boston. He did a show called Spin Cycle for many, many, many years. And then he went out. Yes, he's a big deal. He's also a DJ on Sirius XM satellite radio. A stage. I listen to that. I listen to Sirius all the time. I'm listening to Alt Nation, but I know he does a lot of the dance music shows on that network. So we're going to go check him out right now. Make sure to send him all sorts of love the same way you send me love while I'm here in the Booty Lounge trying to put together all this interesting content for you. And then hopefully we'll get back here on Thursday or Saturday with another stream, and we're going to get back to that record that we started, that track that we started, and we'll see exactly what kind of craziness we can turn that into. I think I have a really good idea for it. Anyway, thank you so much. I've had a great time here. Stay tuned for the raid. Make sure to give Liquid Todd lots of love, tips, cheers, the whole thing if you haven't done it already. And I will see you guys next time. Actually, on Wednesday, I'll be doing DrumNation Daytime here, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a DJ set, along with everyone else with High Five Wednesday. So until then, take care. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.